Hello, in this video, I'm going to be explaining how I have a client who has multiple properties. He has 5 properties that he currently owns in cash. And what we're trying to calculate here is to be able to see how much he can refinance out to leverage to buy additional real estate to start increasing both his portfolio and his cash flow. So his properties are located in the greater Boston area. And what I did was I calculated the market value, a typical or what we could choose as a 50% loan to value amount, how much that would be based upon the market value. I just assumed a 6.25% interest rate and an amortization of 30 years. I calculated out what his principal and interest payments would be, calculated out his current rent and what his rent would be minus the principal and interest. And then I calculated out the percentage spent the rent on the principal and of the principal and interest to allow us to determine what's the best one to refi. We know that at the minimum, even after everything's said and done, he wants about $7,000 or $6,000, and I'm playing it safe at $7,000 after expenses of even the mortgage. So what I did was I further calculated it out. What I said, all right, well, let's figure out which one we refinance first with that loan. These 2 properties are the ones that we would suggest, right, doing first, and then how much you can take. Then how much you could have in net income as a result of all the other funds. Then this allows us to be able to strike the balance between de-risking and pulling usable capital, keeping the most profitable properties untouched, and then using 2 properties that have a healthy rent to debt ratio. Then I did a full write-up explaining what that analysis covers, how we came up with it, and then a recommended strategy again, as well as an explanation of saying, hey, with $566,000 and using this to leverage for new loans at 25%, we'd be able to buy up to $2.26 million. Now, that's a significant amount of property because the units that we're looking at are roughly now about $150,000 a unit, which will then gross him about $1,500 to $1,750, which is above the 1% rule. And what he could do is, instead of actually pulling out both properties, refinance, he could just start with one, maximize his cash flow still, and just have down payment funds available for future purchases. I also attached in the email that I sent to him information about cost segregations, which will allow him to further benefit because the cost segregations will allow us to expedite the depreciation, which would be able to offset his taxable income, not only on the future properties, but also on the properties that he's bought in the past. And additional write-offs is great because if we can keep more money in our pocket, that means he'll have more cash flow to potentially reinvest more in the future. So if you or anyone else you know is looking for a real estate agent / property manager who really gets the numbers, can plan this type of future refi out with cash flows to ensure you're protected, to ensure that you still have cash flow, and to be able to help calculate out how much property that you would be able to buy as a result, and take it a step further and even help you out with things like cost segregations to lower your taxable income so that you can save more money and have more money in your pocket. Please think of Jarrett Lau of Profitable Properties Boston.